German engines have a reputation for being brilliant when new and ruinously expensive once the warranty runs out. But 5 of them wreck that reputation completely, including a Mercedes diesel that taxi fleets drove past 900,000 miles on the original block. These are the 5 with documented proof of crossing 500,000 miles, ranked by evidence, not badge. We are counting down 5 engines from 4 of Germany's biggest names, from the least documented proof of the 5 to the one that nearly hit 1 million miles on its original internals. Number 5, 2005 to 2013 BMW 530d X5 3.0D, the M57 D30 TU2 3.0-liter turbocharged inline-6 diesel. The bottom end built for 1,000 pound-feet. Ask BMW enthusiasts which engine the brand ever built that is actually unkillable, and the M57 wins the argument more often than the high-revving inline-6s that get the magazine covers. It is a diesel most American BMW owners never got to buy, and it is the one European mechanics quietly point to for a car they intend to keep for 2 decades. Producing 286 horsepower and 427 pound-feet from just 3.0 liters, the M57 was never asked to work anywhere near what its internals could survive. Early versions run a dense cast iron block. Later aluminum block variants compensate with heavy iron cylinder liners. So the difference between generations is cosmetic, not structural. The understress margin is the entire story. BMW rated the factory bottom end to handle roughly 1,000 pound-feet of torque without modification, nearly 2.5 times what the engine actually produces in stock form. Diesel combustion helps here too. The compression ratio sits at 16.5 to 1, which sounds aggressive until you remember diesels run leaner and cooler at the cylinder wall than an equivalent output turbocharged gasoline 6. Less thermal cycling at the ringlands translates directly into less stress transmitted through the rod bearings, and a bottom end that spends its entire service life running well inside its own limits. Documented service histories on M57-powered 530Ds and X5 3.0Ds regularly show engines still running on their original bottom end past 400,000 miles, climbing toward 500,000 with the block itself untouched, injectors, turbo actuators, and cooling components being the parts that eventually need attention, never the crank or the rods. European taxi and commercial fleets, which put more hours on these diesels in a year than most private owners manage in a decade, supply most of the extreme mileage service records for this engine, and not one of them cites a bottom-end failure as the reason a car finally got retired. The one real threat to this engine's longevity isn't inside the block. It's the intake manifold's swirl flaps, small butterfly valves regulating low RPM airflow for emissions. Diesel soot coats them in sludge, and a flap can snap off and get pulled into a cylinder, causing real damage on an otherwise untouchable engine. The standard fix, well documented across BMW diesel forums, is deleting or blanking the flaps before they fail. Handle that one job, and the swirl flaps stop being a threat to the M57's factory-rated 1,000 pound-feet of headroom. Stick to 5W30 BMW Long Life, 0.4 synthetic, changed every 10,000 miles or annually, though diesel oil breaks down faster under soot loading than that interval implies. So independent mechanics often tighten it to 7,500 miles once a car crosses 6 figures. Air filter every 20,000 miles or 2 years, fuel filter every 40,000 miles or 4 years, coolant flush every 2 years or 30,000 miles. The timing chain is nominally a lifetime component, though some shops start listening for stretch-related noise around 125,000 miles on cars that have seen neglected service. That's a strong case built on fleet averages and factory tolerances. The next engine on this list has actual kilometers on a real odometer to back it up. Number 4, 1998 to 2004 Volkswagen Golf and Jetta Mark IV Passat B5 Skoda Octavia. The 1.9 TDI ALH 1.9-liter turbocharged inline-4 diesel, the million-mile TDI. No engine on this list carries a bigger reputation outside of car culture entirely than the 1.9 TDI. Taxi drivers across Europe built entire fleets around it, delivery companies specified it by name, and secondhand car buyers on 3 continents still search for this exact engine code before they search for a body style. It traces its lineage back through Volkswagen's EA827 and EA188 engine families, the same broader architecture that quietly powered Golfs, Jettas, and Passats across 3 decades before the ALH variant refined it into a diesel worth building a reputation around. At just 90 horsepower and 155 pound-feet, it was never fast. That was never the point. It was engineered to survive 1 million miles of stop-and-go abuse from drivers who had no intention of ever changing careers. The block is thick gray cast iron, heavier than the output figures would ever justify, and that mass does one specific job. It eliminates cylinder bore distortion almost entirely, even after 2 decades of thermal cycling. Combine that with a 19.5 to 1 compression ratio and unusually low specific power output, and mechanical stress on every internal component stays remarkably low for the engine's entire working life. The early ALH variant runs a rotary mechanical injection pump rather than a modern common rail system. Less precise, but dramatically lower operating pressures moving through the fuel system, which is exactly why catastrophic fueling failures are so rare on this particular engine. This engine family has logged documented examples past 720,000 kilometers, roughly 447,000 miles, on original internals, and industry reporting on the ALH and its Pompidou successors routinely cites totals well north of 500,000 miles across the wider platform. That's not a single anomalous car, it's a pattern repeated across enough independently documented examples that TDI forums treat 300,000 miles as a used car baseline rather than a milestone worth celebrating. Everything else that goes wrong here is peripheral, not structural. The EGR system clogs with carbon and needs manual cleaning, thermostats degrade with age, and the MAF sensor throws codes long before anything is mechanically wrong. Later, Pompidou's variants swap the rotary pump for cam-actuated injectors that trade some mechanical simplicity for tighter injection timing, and over hundreds of thousands of miles, those injector seats can erode. Worth a periodic check, but still a fuel system fix rather than an engine-out repair. Handle those the way you'd handle any aging component, and the block underneath flatly doesn't care how many miles are already on the clock. Keep it on 5W30 or 5W40 fully synthetic oil, meeting VW50 spec, changed every 5,000 miles. Tighter than the factory interval, but necessary to prevent soot loading in a diesel this old. The timing belt is the one item that actually decides this engine's fate. 60,000 to 80,000 miles on the belt itself, and every single time, replace the water pump, tensioner, and idler rollers alongside it. Skipping those auxiliary parts to save money is how an otherwise bulletproof engine ends up in a salvage yard. The TDI earned its reputation one taximeter at a time. The next engine on this list earned an identical reputation on a racetrack instead. Number 3, 2000 to 2005 Porsche 911 Turbo 996 generation. The M96.70 Mezger twin turbo, 3.6-liter flat 6. The race engine hiding in a daily driver. Named after Porsche's legendary engineer Hans Mezger, this is the one 911 engine that skipped the reliability problems the rest of the 996 generation became infamous for. While the standard Carrera engines of this era developed a reputation for catastrophic intermediate shaft bearing failures, the Mezger engine was built on an entirely different foundation, one traced directly back to the Le Mans winning Porsche 962 race car. At liftoff, 420 horsepower and 415 pound-feet, it was designed from the outset to survive sustained abuse at 9,000 plus RPM on a racetrack, which makes daily driver mileage almost a formality by comparison. Porsche kept building the same architecture across the 997.1 Turbo and the 997 GT3 and GT3 RS that followed, which is exactly why a used Porsche shopper can chase this specific engine family across nearly a decade of model years instead of hunting for one narrow build window. The whole reason this engine escapes the 996 generation's worst-known flaw comes down to that architecture. It uses a race-derived dry sump oiling system instead of the standard wet sump setup, and, critically, a gear-driven intermediate shaft rather than the belt-driven shaft with a lubrication-starved bearing that plagued the standard Carrera engines of the same era. That single architectural difference is the reason the Mezger never developed the IMS bearing failure or bore scoring problems that turned the base 996 into a used car buyer's minefield. A well-documented 2003 996 Turbo owned by enthusiast Tom Thalman has crossed 742,500 miles on its original internals. A publicly tracked, named example that's become something of a reference point in Porsche ownership circles for exactly how far this specific architecture can go. That number alone puts the Mezger ahead of nearly every other performance engine built in the same era, German or otherwise, on a car that was designed for occasional track use, not commuter duty. There isn't a chronic internal failure point here the way there is with the standard 996. That's the entire premise of this engine's reputation. The closest thing to a genuine weak spot is age-related oil seepage from various gaskets, which is cosmetic rather than mechanical, plus the same coolant line degradation that affects every water-cooled 911 of this era, since the radiators sit at the front of the car with long lines running the full length of the chassis and pick up road debris over the years. Address that proactively, And keep the maintenance schedule current. Run 5W40 Porsche, A40 synthetic, or step up to 0W40 or 5W50 for cars seeing serious mileage or track time. Oil and filter annually or every 5,000 miles for longevity, even though the factory interval technically allows 15,000 miles. Spark plugs every 30,000 miles or 4 years, major inspection service every 30,000 miles, and the drive belt every 60,000 miles. The timing chain itself is designed to last the life of the engine, though it's worth having the chains, guides, and tensioners inspected after 100,000 miles or at the first sign of rattling. Stay ahead of that schedule, and the engine underneath has already proven, on a publicly tracked odometer, not a marketing claim, that it can outlast the rest of the car. If you're getting value out of this, take a second and hit like and subscribe. It costs nothing, and it's the only reason channels like this one keep digging up the engineering data dealerships would rather you never see. Now, the two engines that outlast almost everything else on the road. Number 2, 1975 to 1991, Mercedes-Benz W123, W126. The OM617 3.0-liter naturally aspirated or turbocharged, inline-5 diesel, the taxi that wouldn't die. High-mileage diesel mechanics keep landing on the same answer when asked to name the single most bulletproof engine ever put in a passenger car, the OM617. Without much hesitation, Mercedes built both the block and the cylinder head out of thick, heavy-grade cast iron, the same material on both sides of the head gasket, which removes an entire category of failure that plagues nearly every other engine on this list. Mercedes offered it across both naturally aspirated and turbocharged forms in the W123 and W126, powering everything from the humble 300D sedan to the 300TD wagon and 300CD coupe, which is a big part of why so many independent examples exist for owners to compare notes against decades later. The key detail most people miss is the shared material approach itself. When a block and head are made from different metals with different rates of thermal expansion, the head gasket sits at the mercy of that mismatch every single time the engine heats up and cools down. It's the single most common reason engines eventually need headwork. The OM617 simply doesn't have that problem, because both halves expand and contract identically. On top of that, its mechanical, gear-driven injection pump needs zero electrical power to function once the engine is running, stripping out an entire category of electronic failure points that modern common rail diesels can avoid. There's no engine control unit to fail, no wiring harness corrosion to chase, and no sensor calibration drift to diagnose. The fuel delivery system is entirely mechanical, from the injection pump down to the injectors themselves. This is the engine behind the legendary 900,000-mile Mercedes taxis that get cited across the diesel enthusiast world, W123s that spent decades in commercial service in cities across Europe and North Africa, logging mileage most gasoline engines would never approach even across 3 separate vehicles. Documented service histories place this engine comfortably in the 300,000 to 500,000 mile range as a baseline expectation, with fleet examples on record well beyond that, on nothing more dramatic done to the bottom end than routine maintenance. It's also the engine of choice for the small but dedicated community of drivers who run diesels on waste vegetable oil and homemade biodiesel. A mechanical fuel pump simply doesn't care about fuel chemistry the way a modern common rail system does. And that tolerance has kept plenty of these blocks running experimental fuel for hundreds of thousands of additional miles beyond what a factory fuel log would ever show. No documented chronic failure point exists on this engine beyond fuel quality sensitivity, and that absence is really the whole story. The maintenance list here is almost suspiciously short. Glow plugs need periodic replacement for reliable cold starts, and the engine is notably picky about diesel fuel quality. Contaminated or low-grade fuel is one of the only things that reliably causes trouble, especially on turbocharged variants where injector timing tolerances are tighter. Beyond that, conventional oil and filter intervals and clean fuel are essentially the entire ownership plan, with no belt and water pump ritual to plan around the way there is on the TDI at the other end of this list, which is exactly how the OM617 ended up powering taxi fleets that measured their engines' lifespans in decades instead of years. The OM617 is the reason the Mercedes diesel reputation exists in the first place, but its own successor is about to make an even stronger case for the top spot. Number 1, 1993 to 1999, Mercedes-Benz W124 and W210 E300D. The OM606 3.0-liter turbocharged inline-6 diesel, the Diesel 2JZ. Diesel enthusiasts don't hand out the nickname Diesel 2JZ lightly. It's a direct comparison to Toyota's legendary bottom end of all bottom ends gasoline engine, and the OM606 earns it. At 177 horsepower, 243 pound-feet, and a properly aggressive 22.0 to 1 compression ratio, This engine takes combustion pressures that would fatigue a lesser bottom end within a couple 100,000 miles and simply shrugs them off generation after generation of taxi and commercial fleet ownership. It powered the W124 and W210 E300 diesel through the 1990s, arriving as the direct successor to the OM617 at number 2 on this list, built for owners who wanted the same reputation for durability with a genuine step up in refinement and output. The trick is internal oil-cooled pistons. A continuous spray of oil hitting the underside of each piston crown to pull heat away from the exact spot where combustion stress concentrates hardest. That's not a common feature on a passenger car diesel of this era. It's the kind of detail more often found on heavy-duty truck engines, and it's the single biggest reason the OM606 tolerates a 22.0 to 1 compression ratio without the piston crown cracking that ends the life of lesser turbo diesels early. Layer on indirect injection, which produces softer, more gradual combustion pressure peaks than a modern direct injection diesel, and the rod and crank bearings spend their entire service life absorbing meaningfully less shock than they would in almost any comparable engine, gasoline, or diesel built in the same decade. The double-row timing chain driving it all was engineered with the same low-drama philosophy, built to run quietly in the background for the life of the car rather than announce itself as a maintenance item. This combination is exactly why 900,000-mile examples of this engine are documented and taken seriously rather than dismissed as an internet exaggeration. The same taxi fleet mileage lore that surrounds the OM617, but on an engine with a firmly documented floor rather than a wide range that starts as low as 300,000. Officially, service data places the OM606 at 500,000 miles and beyond as an expected outcome, not a stretch goal. The highest baseline expected mileage figure of any engine on this list, German or otherwise, and the reason it closes out this countdown rather than the OM617 that came before it. Use 0W40 or 5W40 full synthetic meeting Mercedes spec, 229.5 or 228.5x, changed every 10,000 miles or annually. Mercedes' own service A and B intervals apply directly, alternating between a lighter fluid and inspection visit and a fuller service that adds the cabin filter and brake fluid change. Engine air filter every 30,000 to 40,000 miles. The timing chain is a double-row design with no specified factory replacement interval. Independent mechanics simply recommend inspecting it for stretch, starting around 60,000 to 70,500 miles, and it rarely needs anything done at that check. There's no belt and water pump ritual to plan a service calendar around here, which keeps the total cost of ownership lower than the TDI at the top of this list, despite the OM606's stronger documented mileage ceiling. Virtually nothing chronic shows up on this engine's service records. The closest thing to a documented weak point is the injector pump seals, which can start weeping at truly extreme mileage, well past the point most other engines on this list would already be finished. Everything else is simple, overbuilt, and running so far under its own stress ceiling that the engine has essentially nothing left to complain about. Between the oil-cooled pistons, the shock-softening indirect injection, and a maintenance list that barely changes from year 5 to year 25, it's exactly why this is the engine closing out this list rather than any of the 4 that came before it. So here's the pattern across all 5. Cast iron blocks and conservative tuning wherever it counts, diesel combustion doing quiet, unglamorous work across 3 of the 5 entries, and everywhere, complexity was unavoidable, like the Mezger's dry sump architecture or the M57's swirl flaps, a single, well-documented weak point instead of the kind of unpredictable fragility that actually kills an engine early. These weren't reputation picks. Every engine on this list has documented mileage crossing the 500,000 mile mark, or sits close enough to it with fleet and taxi service records backing up the claim that bulletproof German engineering stops being marketing copy and starts being a number on an odometer. Notice too that 3 of the 5 are diesels, the same low-stress combustion philosophy showing up again and again wherever the mileage claims get truly extreme. Buy one used, restore one, or just keep the one you already have running past its warranty. These 5 are exactly where that confidence should be pointed. German engineering built these 5 to survive drivers who never planned on babying them. 500,000 miles later, they're still proving it. This is Tom from Seats and Wheels. Thanks for watching.